welcome to the best thing you watched this week with Chris from Movies and Munchies and Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. We've got an exciting podcast / YouTube video segment for you. This week we're talking about the best things we watched this week, and in the podcast bit we're going to be talking about the entertainment news and anything else that goes along in that segment. Is like the extra special bit where we chuck in everything and, you know, household stories, what our cleaning routine was. No, it's more exciting than that, hopefully. Generally, you could let us know. You're like, no, just cut that bit out, guys. You know, okay. Let us know. In the UK, when you're listening to this, from tomorrow, it's Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Let us know in the comments, what is your favorite Mother's Day movie to watch with your mothers? If you are a mother and you finally get to hold the remote because it's Mother's Day and it's the one day of the year you get to hold the TV remote, what do you choose to watch? I know my wife, she would choose something like a cooking show or a baking show or building a house show. We recently watched one on Netflix called Is It Cake? And that was interesting. Yeah. So let us know in the comments below. Carry on, Chris.
No, I saw the thumbnail for that and I was like, that's weird. That's a weird show.
Yeah, that is a weird show. This week, our Patreon, we're going to be talking about the Razzies because it's Oscar week. It's going to be the Oscars by the time you've probably watched this or listened to this. And then a few days, or I don't know exactly when the Razzies are, but it's a little while after the Oscars. They'll actually be holding their show, but we're going to be talking about the nominations and what we think about that in the Patreon and just having a laugh with that. So if you missed our previous Patreon, we recently did dad jokes, which was a lot of fun. We will have to do a number 2 because there wasn't an ultimate winner. There was just an ultimate loser. And you'll have to watch the video to find out what that meant. But Chris, hey. I'll Be Back is from which movie?
Terminator 2.
Correct. Legal Dallas Multipass is from which movie?
The Fifth Element. She knows it's Multipass.
Okay. Let's give one to the audience and see if the first person or the first few people that can guess the movie quote, we will give you a special mention in our next episode. Dip, duck, dive, and dodge. Name the movie. It's a bit of an oldie, so there'll probably be a certain generation that knows that one. If you haven't seen that movie, fix that.
Yes.
Have you got a question for us today, Chris?
I do.
Okay.
All right. So do you have a signature move or a quirk that people notice or comment on?
What? What does that mean? A move, like a dance move that I just break out into?
It could be something that is done on purpose. I took it more as, do I have like some kind of weird thing that maybe I do, like a tick or something like that maybe people that's unique to me or that I do often or whatever. I don't know. I mean, take it forever.
Yeah, I mean, there are probably things that irritate you, like my wife or my son and I. We both have like jitter legs. We're sitting down and the leg goes. I can hear when I'm working. I can hear my one son just coming through the roof. It's like, Samuel! There are sayings I've noticed that I've done in reviews that I will repeatedly say, and then after I'm like editing, like, why do I say that so many times? It just depends, I guess, on the review. I picked up mostly from Aliens for a long time. Mostly. So this is mostly good. There'll be things that if I've watched a movie and it'll just stick in my head for a long time, or things annoyingly. I guess we'll talk about a bit of entertainment news quickly because this jumps into that. Baby Shark. If you've ever heard the Baby Shark soundtrack and anybody starts singing it or even mentions it's in your head, there's a movie being made. It's coming out in 2023. Baby Shark. I'm serious, Chris.
Oh my gosh.
Just when you know you watch some stuff and the world of entertainment reassures your faith in it, in its creative medium. Nope. Baby
the pinnacle of
shark,
humanity.
I can't sing any more than that because we'll probably get demonetized. But
it's already in my head now too. Thank you for that. That's wow.
What about you, Chris? On that note,
Well, like you, some of the things that I say sometimes, like "right on," is
Right
one
on.
that I is.
Kirsten
a
loves
lot.
that. She was like, "Oh, Chris, yeah, right on."
Yeah, so it's I don't know, one of those. I have some mild Tourette's, and so a story like mine is not the verbal type. Mine is more muscular, and just I react and stuff. Well, it comes about much bigger when I'm stressed or I'm under a lot of pressure or just feeling really, really tense or anything like that.
So
And
what
there was
comes
one
out?
point, it like facial tics,
okay.
or I shake my head a lot, and so it's uncontrollable. It is what it is. Home is a safe spot, so I can tick out and just go,
Be
and
fine.
it's fine. Yeah. But there was one point where I was at a job one time, and it was just stress had just kind of built up, and I was squishing my forehead a lot and kind of squinting, but I didn't realize it. And so, well, I did realize it, but I was fighting it. Like I fight it all the time, to try and be kind of normal. And there's one dude after the meeting is like, "Why were you making mean faces at me the whole time?" And I'm like, "Oh, good. Okay. Well, now this is making it worse because now I'm actually doing it even more because it's somebody else is aware." Yeah. You know what I mean?
Did you say, "I just don't like you"?
I should have.
'Cause you
I
suck.
should have. This is what you get for being rude. I was like, "Oh my gosh, no, I'm sorry. I was not making faces at you. It's something that I just can't control, and what are you going to do?" But yeah, that's the better answer.
Why didn't you get what I was trying to say with my face?
Yeah, you obviously did not get the hint because
There's that one Adam Sandler film where he dates a woman with Tourette's, and everybody treats her meanly because he's dating a whole bunch of people, but he takes her to a baseball game and she can just let rip, and it's awesome. It's such a great moment because she just like, "Oh, these are my people. They're saying exactly what I'm saying."
Yes. It's a weird phenomenon.
It is weird.
And
Yeah.
what people, and because everybody has it differently too. That's the
Exactly.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
And, so
Autism's
there you
much
go.
the same. There's so wide a range of things. No one is the same, so you can all feel special.
Exactly.
All
right.
Well, that's something I didn't know about you. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool
there
question.
you go. Cool.
Mm.
Shall we dive into the best things that we watched?
Let's do this.
All right.
I'm
actually-
disappointed in Netflix this week. Sorry, actually, and
No. Go. Why are you disappointed in Netflix this week?
just because I think, like, compared to last week, the 4 seasons and 4 movies that they dropped, they released one good season and nothing else. It was just like dry, like a desert.
It was very unbalanced, wasn't it?
Very.
That just
I was like, "Oh, this gives me a chance to catch up on everything else today, all the other streaming services," which I did, and I'm thankful for, and we can talk about. But I guess we can talk a little bit about Bridgerton. Is that on your list?
Yeah, it is on my list. Yeah. We'd probably
Okay.
stay away just because of how long it is. Maybe stay away from the spoilers at this
Yeah,
point.
I agree. Yeah,
But yeah, all right. What'd you think of it?
I liked it. I rated pretty much the same as the first season. Interestingly, on my comment section in my review, people don't like it. They just didn't enjoy it. They said it's much weaker than the first. I don't get it. I thought the writing was tight. I really liked the romance that they're sticking with the Bridgertons, and where that goes. If you don't watch the trailer, you won't know, which is nice. So if you've seen the trailer, you'll be like, "Oh, I see where this is going," because they give too much away in the trailer.
They really do.
Yeah, a lot. I do miss some of the comedy. I know that was one of your critiques, I guess, and that was something that I missed, even from our writer. She was quite funny, but her story was quite dark this time round because of, and I get it. It kind of needed to go that way, and the story lent itself to being darker this season. But I do miss that. There does feel like there needs to be a character that has some levity towards it. I think the Queen, if we had more scenes with her, she's brilliant. I think she could have added some really dry, her quick, snappy, is often funny. I would have liked more with her, and yet so heartfelt. I remember in season 1, there was one episode, one clip with her and her husband, and I was just like, gosh, I like her so much. And then we get the same in season 2, and I was like, oh my gosh, it adds so much weight to what's going on with her, why she's as hard as she is. Yeah. What did you think?
That was a powerful scene.
Yeah, it's good, right? Yeah.
It was unexpected too. And I didn't know, even the way that they turn it was, I mean, the emotion that comes forth, because you're like, wow. And because you I liked the character that was involved in that scene.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought they brought just some good warmth to the entire series. And that's where, I think that's one of the things that I liked best about this season is the conflict that I constantly was feeling.
Yeah.
Because we follow Anthony and his pursuit for a wife.
Yeah.
And, he's very pragmatic and everything, but then he has this choice between head and heart.
Yeah.
And neither of them are really bad choices.
No.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know who to root for, because in one sense it's duty and honor, I get, and that is also a love. It's
yes.
Love is looked at very differently sometimes in Hollywood, even just as love is this, but love actually has there's an umbrella that it kind of sits under, and it's different for everybody. So I thought having those two choices there was very clever, in fact, because it did make you as an audience member going, I really like both the choices. So this is really tough. Yeah, clever.
Yeah, because when one is chosen, the other becomes heartbroken, and you don't want to see either of those become heartbroken because of how they are. And they're drastically different in the way that they present themselves, their personality, all of that. I did get a couple of comments also that they felt that this season was weaker, that it was not as good. I enjoyed it just as much. I mean, yes, obviously it was different and it had a different tone to it. But after that first episode, I think that's really where it kind of, it took a minute for me to get into.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that was because it's just been a while since I've seen, season 1, or if there is something really different in season 2. And I think it was a combo of both.
I think it's a
to
combo,
certain degree.
yeah. It's been a while. It took them a while to make it. COVID happened in between. All of that comes into play. But also, there's a different dynamic because we had that couple that there were, the Duke and the Bridgerton, and that was it's a different feeling. It's a different story. Same family, but it is continually different. I did love to hate the bad guy that was after the family's money. The guy that was coming to look after the family, the Featherington. Yes, I love to hate
the
him.
cousin or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, cousin. That was a fun storyline because although they're not good either, are they? That whole family, they're just dodge.
They are. And that's the thing too, but I felt sympathy at different times for them. You know what I mean? Like that was part of the greatness of this writing of this season, is that they take this family that they are the antagonists-ish. I mean, they're at least not the ones that we always root for, because they are scheming and they're conniving and they're, just up to no good a lot of the time. But then yet in different small sequences, I was like, oh, well, that sucks for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then they would do something right immediately after that would completely contradict
derail
it.
that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I in that where the daughter, the Featherington daughter, kept calling him Cousin Jack.
Yeah.
Is that was his name? Jack? Cousin Jack. And the first time the mom was like, don't say that. And don't call him Cousin Jack, because of just the situation that it was involving. And so every time that she would say that, I found myself, don't say that.
Nice. Don't say that.
Yeah. It was just, no, please don't. Ugh.
Implies,
but
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I tell you what, though, they started a story of the boxer and his gentleman's club, and really only teased it. I really wanted much more, because I thought that storyline was interesting, but it was just there to pad out the episodes. They gave us a little bit, but they don't go into it, and I was just like, either have the story or don't have the story.
Well, and I'm curious if it's going to take more of a prominence going forward, because as it ends, we see something bigger with that, you know. But yet he was Mondrich was angry most of the time,
angry.
which
and it wasn't just
understand.
because that guy had arrived. It was something to do with the Bridgertons as well.
Yeah, and I didn't totally understand.
And I don't remember that. It wasn't because his gambling issues wasn't with the Bridgertons. It was with
the Featheringtons, right? Yeah. So I don't.
I felt like I missed
and I like
something.
Exactly, and I like him as a character. I think he, you know, especially because I like the story that they're taking, where he has created this this gentleman's club, but it's open to everybody.
Yeah, all
you
classes,
know, and what exactly. And again, let me go off on a small little tangent here. The people that are complaining, well, this is not historically accurate. This is based on a novel series.
It's not a historical document like a Galaxy Quest is.
Exactly. So guess what? They can do whatever they want in the show. It doesn't purport to be absolutely fact for fact history.
It's not. If it's a feature film or a TV series and it doesn't have documentary in it, even if it was to be factual, they would take elements of their own facts, which is often reported from one perspective. So if you need to understand that, like a story is told by many perspectives, just that's one perspective. If you looked at the person who was losing, it would totally be a different perspective, or somebody watching from both sides, different perspective. Yeah, it's all fantasy.
Yeah. So going on that though, I like the social commentary that brings to us is that you're showing this this black man who can open up something, and he has a vision to bring people together, regardless of their class. He's trying to break down the walls and not have it just so stuffy that it only feeds into the upper elite, but yet everybody can come and share ideas, and that's how greatness becomes.
I mean, even having his wife serve, because normally in gentlemen's club you don't have women. Yeah,
unless it's a different type of gentlemen's club.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, exactly. And so I do hope though that they take that someplace, you know, because it was a weird inclusion. I totally agree with you that
one of the other complaints I had was it was much less raunchy than the first season. And I agree, but I don't know if that's necessarily a complaint. It didn't have as much sex or nudity.
No, it didn't. And I think it fit better in there. Like it wasn't there gratuitously necessarily. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, we're gonna put this in because we want it to be steamy or hook people in. It's like, no, we're just here for the story, and if it fits, then we'll include that in there. We're not going to necessarily shy away from it, but the story content doesn't really call for it here. That is a weird complaint, especially when there's a plethora of other things that you could watch if you were looking.
There's a platform for that. Yes.
Well, there is. Yes. So it's called the internet.
Yes.
Yeah. That's weird. Yeah. Okay. Well.
Anyway, moving on from Bridgerton, what else did you enjoy? What else is the best thing you watched?
Well, I have a story to take us on, but before that, I would like you to tell us a story. Did you know that Ruben was banned from Twitter this week?
I did know this, yes.
Well, you did, but our audience did not. So, hey, explain.
Well, I was really bad, Chris. There is a lady on Twitter that I've been following for many years, not in a stalkery way, but as in she's amazing talent. She's a writer, has been a games writer for IGN, number of other places, and now works for one of the biggest gaming industries in the world as a writer. She's writing the next God of War game. She's part of the dev team there, which I'm very excited for. Cool. Anyway, she posted something on Twitter about a guy that was just blatantly just being a douchebag, very sexist about the fact that she was only hired for her looks, and she's a pretty lady. And I was like, okay, so she's pretty, but okay. So I replied with, and not even to him, to her, basically just saying, I think you're fantastic, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, I'd like to hit this dude with a wet fish. To which Twitter responded, you're banned. For threatening someone with physical harm, basically. Which I did fight, because I was saying that this is like a humorous take on something that from someone that is actually abused, and they're actually the abuser. That's the person you should be looking at. And they came back with, no, this upholds our policy, so you're banned for 12 hours. And I wanted to throw a hissy fit at that point and just say, what? And then I just realized, you know what? It's Twitter. Who cares? What does it matter at the end of the day?
So just know, everybody, there's your PSA. You cannot threaten or even suggest that someone hits someone else with a wet fish.
Don't do that. You'll be in trouble.
But if you want to be sexist pig and chauvinistic and misogynistic, you can totally do that all day long, and apparently it's no problem.
To do that. So,
okay. Well, at least we have the rules clear.
Yes. Clear guidelines.
Okay.
So what's your story?
Yes. Okay. So this is a stream of consciousness type of thing. Now, you know, Ruben, that on Prime, Amazon Prime, there is a plethora of terrible movies.
It's a golden nuggets of terrible movie.
It is, right? And the way, at least on the app, through Roku, and maybe even through some of it doesn't really matter. You go on one, and then it says, if you like this, here are some suggested ones.
All the others.
Yes, which they get even worse.
Like a rabbit
and so we
hole.
were sitting around. Oh, it is. It's terrible. Well, so we were sitting around as a family. My wife was just observing because she does not agree at all. But me and my sons were laughing at remembering some of the genius from Velocipaster.
Yes.
And almost having a discussion on why we could consider this a great movie, like legitimately great movie, because of how purposefully they did certain things.
Right.
And we were in tears when we talked about the VFX here, on the screen VFX, and stuff like that. Exactly. But so that, talking about Velocipaster, then reminded me of something that you had mentioned to me, Noah's Shark.
Yes.
Which my kids had not heard about.
Right.
So I was like, ooh, okay. So we watched the trailer for that. And then one of the suggested ones, it's called, I had to check my notes so I get the wording right. It's called Jurassic Shark 2 Aquapocalypse.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, no. Okay. So we didn't watch that. But that then led through just, as we're looking and you see different ones and you click on them to a movie called Zillafoot.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Okay. I watched some of this. I actually put it on purposefully to see if it's 4 minutes in. I wanted to gouge my eyes out. It's like a whole bunch of just stolen footage, just put together with terrible voiceovers. You have, at one point, actors speaking like you and I would be conversing in English,
right?
In English. And then they redub over it in English, but it doesn't line up.
Oh my gosh.
It's so bad. And so it was terrible. But so I was like fast forwarding because I'm like, I can't do this. Is this going to get better? Let me just see if, is this, and I get to this underwater scene, and you obviously, it's all going to be voiceover at this point because they're underwater, and it's just terrible graphics the entire time. The voiceover becomes wildly self-aware.
What?
I mean, like, incredibly so, and it made me laugh out loud at how self-aware it was. And I didn't finish the movie because it was unwatchable. But anyway, but this, while we were doing this search, as we go through all of these crappy things, my son was like, "Oh, what is that?" And we see this movie called Howl from Beyond the Fog. Now, this
I searched for this low and high.
Yeah, which is a bummer because in the United States, it is available on Prime. Now, in the UK, it is not available on Prime, so I don't know.
It's not available anywhere.
Oh, seriously?
Couldn't find it on any platform.
So it is a It is a short film. And here's the synopsis. During the Meiji era, a blind girl named Takiri and a monster called Nebula fight against greedy developers who threaten to take over her family's land. This is a puppet movie.
Right.
Now, puppets sound freaky. Puppets sound
you don't like
very
puppets
creepy looking
anyway.
and everything. No, I don't like puppets. No. These were more realistic. And the mouths didn't move. The eyes didn't blink. It was just, you would see these puppets and they would do gentle movements. Like at one point you see somebody playing a guitar. But it's all these practical effects. And so you have this giant, what is the, not Gojira, because that's actually the name of the, what is Godzilla? What is Mothra? What are those?
Kaiju.
Those creatures. Kaiju. Thank you. Ah, gosh, just fell out of my head there. These kaiju type things. And so you have one who's protecting this land. And it looks amazing. And I mean, you can tell it's puppet. You can tell it's practical effects being moved through this. The story is only 30 minutes long. It's very quiet. It's not action packed. It's not just flashy or anything like that. But the way they they tell a really great moving story in a very short period of time that I was sucked into. But when I looked at the film on Amazon, it said it was like 71 minutes. And at 30 minutes, the film ends. And I'm like, what's going on? The next 40 minutes is all of the behind the scenes.
Oh, amazing. That is so cool.
Oh my gosh. So you watch them make the monster. And at one point, the dude is getting into this monster so that he can, one of the people, making it, and it is a couple years in the making. I mean, it shows how they poured molds to make these.
Yeah, you then start
these puppets,
how much it takes to do that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They do like several layered of backgrounds and foregrounds, and panning the camera and just tracking on a dolly, just different things so that you could see maybe like a forest going by in the background. And then, the camera dude's all on green and they put it, green screen behind there so they can just layer it. It was amazing. And so this was like, it blew me away. Like I didn't know, especially going from terrible movie, and this one being inserted in that list, you're like, oh, this is just going to be horrible. And I'm like, whoa, diamond in the rough there. Wow. So Howl from Beyond the Fog. If you have the opportunity, it's a very quick binge, and if it's available, but it's so worth it. So good.
Man, I want to watch that. It sucks that it's not here.
Yeah, I feel bad for you because I think you would really enjoy it. Just from the quality of the filmmaking and all of the dedication that went into it.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked Netflix's puppet series from the Dark Crystal, and we went and saw like behind the scenes of that, and how they made it, and that was incredible. Almost more interesting than the series at some points, just because the talent that goes into that. Yeah, definitely up for that. So if you're listening and you happen to find a link to a legal place where I can watch that in the UK, then I'll happily watch that. Okay, so on my list of things that I thought was the best things that I watched this week, one of them absolutely blew me away. I thought it was going to be good, but I didn't know how good. It's the sort of thing that is a massively slow burn, but needs to be slow burn, and you don't mind it being slow burn, even so much you click onto the next episode and you keep watching it. So it's not the sort of slow burn you go, ugh, this is, I just get to the point. Anyway, Apple TV series kicked butt this week. So I managed to watch two, one of which is the embargo was released for a couple of the episodes, so I reviewed it. And the other one, the embargo is up, I think, for the whole lot. They do weird things where you can review the whole series, but the individual episodes have embargo dates, if that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, so Pachinko is one that I watched this week, and I have to say, I was just gobsmacked. It's the sort of thing that, as a reviewer, when you watch it, you're like, this is why I review. Because occasionally you'll come across something that's so engaging that gives you like an emotional roller coaster from laughing to crying. It's like you're following this one family through time. It's 4 generations, and it also has 3 languages. So we've got Korean, Japanese, and English, and so you have subtitles that are different colors to represent that going on, which I thought was brilliant, really, really clever. And it just shows the amalgamation, the clash of cultures because of war, because of who's invaded. And you see this, you just basically follow, like you're flying the wall, following this family through time. And it does jump backwards and forwards. And sometimes it takes you a bit to go, okay, so we're following her now. And then now we see the repercussions of what has happened to the family. They're all very much steeped in culture. So they believe in curses and stuff. And you see the repercussions of that. And being a person of different culture in the American, in the late 80s, you see the influence of that. I was being very careful of how I worded things there because I know it can very much trigger people and upset people. And I'm trying not to do that these days, being a South African and having very blunt humor. Well, South African British now. So that's a double whammy. It was just mesmerizing, like cinematography, the shots of vast landscapes, and then very personal with the people. So beautifully shot, and then really close moments. So even though it spans many years, because we're always keeping close to the family unit, it just grounds the whole series. So there's a lot going on. It feels like a sort of thing that's a really big epic. Like if you go to cinema and you watch a big epic, something like Hugh Jackman's Australia, that kind of film, that kind of feeling, but it's very personal because it focuses on particular characters. So you never really feel like you're losing out or it's losing focus. Brilliant. Just 5 stars all the way.
Now, did you watch the whole series or have you just watched it? Okay.
I watched the whole series. I watched as much as I could, like in one day, because they're long episodes. And then you kind of do, because it's quite heavy in places, you do kind of need to give yourself a break. Okay. It's based on a novel that's very well respected. I think a New York best-selling something and has a number of other awards. And I know people love it. But as far as I can see, it's been really well received so far. I believe the first 3 episodes are up on Apple now. And it's going to take you on a roller coaster ride of emotions, because after the first episode, I think it takes about an episode to get into how the story is told.
Sure.
But after that, you're like, yeah, I'm here. I'm in it.
How many episodes did you say it is? Is it 8 or 10?
I believe. I think it's 8.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. And do you know, is Apple going to do just 1 episode per week going for?
It's 1 per week. Yeah. Annoyingly. But they're long, and there's a lot going on in each episode. It's like telling a segment of a story that's happening with that family in each episode. So it's very specific. Even though you want to click on what's happening, it does often focus on a character, and then we go back in time to, I don't want to do spoilers, to kind of show you what's happening or where that's come from. And then we jump back into the present. And as you can tell, one particular character is played by multiple people because there's different age groups. So yeah,
nice.
It's very, very good. And I'll keep talking about Apple if I can. If that's all right. I had a chance to watch, and I think this is going to be right up your alley, Chris. This is something that would be on BBC as a BBC original drama espionage thriller, but it's an Apple series, and it's called Slow Horses. And it's so good.
I'm binging that this week. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Yeah.
It's so good.
Well, because it's, first off, it's Gary Oldman.
Right.
Done.
Tick.
I'm right there. I'm yeah.
But then if you looked at the rest of the cast.
Well, I know the one of the dudes, there's Kristen Scott Thomas, not a dude.
Yeah.
But, and then the dude who played the brother in Fighting with My Family, who I really liked him in that. And I think there's a couple other notable people, isn't there?
Chris Riley, Olivia Cook.
Yes, yes.
Jonathan Pryce. Oh my gosh. Jack Lowden, I think that may be the guy you're thinking of.
Yes, I believe so.
A number of others you'll be like, oh, I know that person. The thing is, it does have like this is dark comedy.
Mhm.
I'm not so sure I would add comedy into this. There are funny moments, and maybe the characters will do some things that are humorous, but this is seriously espionage storytelling. Like it's sharp, it's witty, it's also not slow, which I really appreciated.
Oh.
It has a feeling of like The Office, guys sitting around. It's this group of rejects. MI5 rejects that people no longer want anything to do with because they've messed up on a mission or something, and so you get this group. Gary Oldman hates them, but if anybody messes with them, those are his people. So he has this like surrogate father sort of feeling of like, I don't like you, but if anybody messes with you, I'm going to take him out sort of thing. And he plays this drunk guy, smoking, drinking too much. He's like overweight, got a double chin. He looks a mess. Like this is perfect for Gary Oldman. He just plays these characters so well. And you immediately kind of loathe him as the boss because you're like, but there are episodes. Well, there's only 6 episodes, so it's really short. But the episodes are like 45 minutes, 50 minutes long.
Okay.
But you do warm up to him because you start finding bits about their past. It is one of those, by the time you get midway through, you're like, oh, okay. I'm starting to see how this fits together because it's a proper story that I wasn't expecting. It starts off with a bang, and then you start going, oh, what is this actually about? And then you're like, oh, this is what this is about. And I'm not saying anything more than that because it's spoilers and it hasn't fully come out, but it's just so much fun. It's good. Like, it's a good British series.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited. Apple gave me the screeners for that, so I'm like, yes, thrilled for that.
They're finally sorting that out, are they?
Well, sort of. Single type of thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah. You know what? I got to go. I went to the movies. I went to the movies yesterday. Also, didn't get to see one of the 2 movies that I wanted to see. But I also, earlier in the week, my wife and I went to a screening and we saw The Lost City. Yeah,
this is not coming out until the 6th of April, I believe.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
Wow. It is. So I didn't see a trailer for it.
Good.
I just went in.
That's a good thing.
Which I think so too, yeah. Because when I watched the trailer afterwards, and I was like, "Wow, this gives a lot away." Like this is just a fun time. That's really what it was. That you have romantic comedy angle, you have action adventure, and then you have just kind of over the top. With so we have Sandra Bullock, who is a mystery romance action adventure writer, and she has had some personal tragedy. She hasn't written in a while. She just kind of reclusive, just not really putting herself out there. She finishes her book. She has to go on this book tour. She doesn't want to. Her cover model is played by Channing Tatum. He's just the dude who's on all of her on the cover of all of her novels, kind of like Fabio was back in the the early 90s or whatever, but he becomes like his own persona, and people like almost flock to him more than they do to her. Amazing. Even though he has nothing, so their chemistry works really well because Channing Tatum, despite looking, he is big and buff, but despite that manly persona, he's not as capable at certain things as you might think. And so he's, he kind of accidentally helps in certain ways. Daniel Radcliffe plays kind of the antagonist. He is the antagonist, but he's not necessarily a total villain, just all-out villain. And he's a very rich guy who's just searching for this thing.
Well, I'm sure he is a very rich guy and probably can search for things.
This is true. Yes, in real life he is. But it was he was a blast to watch too, because he has this intensity to him where he's staring sometimes right at the camera, but other times just right at characters, big eyes open and not blinking as he's talking. And it just kind of, it's like, you need to blink, dude. That's weird. Stop doing that, But it's just think back to like, you know, the early 80s, mid 80s, even early 90s, some of those just action adventures that you just have where
I heard it described as this year, well, the modern version of Romancing the Stone.
Yeah, a little bit. There is some of that. Yeah, because I definitely got the feels of that going into that. And I think some of that just because you have a writer and you have, you know, this handsome leading man who's kind of just, you know, burly and everything, but there's definitely a twist on it.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily follow exactly that and the whole reason. I mean,
is it a good date movie?
Excuse me. Yeah. My wife and I, well, there's a good romance angle to it, but it's not overplayed.
Great.
And it comes about naturally.
Yeah.
You know, it's very just sweet. We laughed out loud though multiple times.
Oh, really?
Through this.
Okay, so yeah, this is definitely going to be one I'll take the wife to.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, we left with a smile on our face. That was the thing that we, you know, it was enjoyable. Is it perfect? No. And is it something that we were like, because we were talking about it, was like, would we want to go back and watch this like tomorrow? Not really. I mean,
but
it's not one of those
when
like
it comes out on streaming service.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. This is something that I will rewatch and periodically. It's just not something that it's like, oh my gosh, okay, so I saw it yesterday, I need to see it tomorrow, and then the day after that.
To be fair, there's not many films that do that for me anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. But it is, the story's a little thin in parts. I would like some more information on certain things, especially because of the time that we get. I mean, I think it's under 2 hours, but it's closer to the 2 hour mark than it is to the 90-minute mark. Brad Pitt has a role in this, which again, I am so glad I didn't see the trailer for it.
Right.
Because Brad Pitt is he's just fun. He's just, it was a, you know, a really good time. Sandra Bullock has her agent, and who's also kind of her best friend, is awesome as well. She is like this fierce lady who just she's tired. She's putting up with crap. She's dealing with not only Sandra Bullock's antics, but now there's this complication that she has to try and figure out. And she has a personal investment within this. And she has this moment at one point where it was actually really good. It was a very brief monologue, and it like very powerful and very personal within this larger just comedy and, you know, an action stuff that's going on. And it didn't feel preachy. It didn't feel out of the blue. I mean, it felt real for a person of this character that would be saying this, but yet it resonates so well with a lot of us. And so this is definitely, yes, date movie.
Definitely want to watch this. Yeah, sounds really good. We need more films like that. The world we live in, escapism and joy, anything that makes us smile and laugh, we need more of that. Thank you. We're going back to those 90s 2000 blockbusters that were silly, tongue-in-cheek. They were a cornucopia, and they really worked, and people were eating them up. People don't so much forgive them these days. We seem to have gotten a bit serious for our nature. I could do with a plethora more of this. Let's research those fun escapism adventures. That's, you know, sounds great.
Yeah, the reason that we go to the movies.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, 100% on board for that. Okay, so I guess going on from that, there's two that I want to talk about, but I will talk about my cinema trip this week. I actually gave it a 3 Nicolas Cages out of 5, but my friend John, he's adamant it's a 4, and a lot of the top reviewers here are giving it 3s and 2s, a couple of 4s, like the big Empire and Total Film, they're all like. But John says that, and I kind of agree with him, it's his best film since the 90s. He's gone back to the films that were fun to watch from him, and I have to agree with him to like a certain. There's like, okay, I agree. And so the film is Ambulance. It's a Michael Bay film, and true story. I asked my family if anybody wants to come to the cinema with me, and they were like, "What are you watching?" I said Ambulance. I said it's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it. They were like, "Ooh!" And then my son goes, "Who directs it?" Michael Bay. I said, "Nope, I'm out." And so, unfortunately for Michael Bay, he really does have a stigma since doing the Transformers films, and I get it. You know, some of those films are so bad it's barely watchable. Some of them, there's missing bits in the films. I think it's Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. There's like a 20-minute segment, like we have no idea what happened to that bit in the film, and still to this day it has never been explained. The editing is so fast-paced and so close that you can't see the Transformers fighting, and then he likes to use fireworks for his explosions. So, you know, there's so much of that, and there's a lot of that in Ambulance as well. Like, when I go into Michael Bay film, things I expect, a Megan Fox type character, a really, really pretty lady that looks like Megan Fox in some form, tick. And then he has his brother who left the family to be a Marine. But you start off with this brother from the Marine. He goes to his brother for help. He needs money for some sort of reason. It's like a last resort. His brother's pulling off this bank robbery, and everything goes wrong, and that's where the film goes. It's a massive chase in an ambulance, and that sounds fun to me. The thing is, it takes itself very seriously. So I was hoping for something like the dialogue, sort of like Bad Boys. You know, action, but you know, they're really kind of bickering with each other back and forth. This is a much more serious film that I think that I think some people are going to be taken back from that, because it's a really intense film the whole way through. But at the same time, they made their bed, so it's very hard to root for them. Like, you know why, but all the damage they're causing, the mayhem they're causing throughout this 2-hour long run, and it does feel long because it's just action non-stop. People are getting shot along the wayside. Cops are losing their lives. And the way the cops react as well, most of the time, there's like a group of cops that just... And I think there's such a bad persona when it comes to cops these days anyway, that when you see cops reacting or not going by the law, or just being really heavy-handed, or you've killed one of us so you don't get... It showcases that cops don't obey the law. They are the law, you know, like Judge Dredd. And I think I am the law. Then, and unfortunately it feels true. So rather than we obey the law, we uphold the law, but it comes across as they are the law. And so you have both sides feeling like they're both bad guys. And so by the time you get to the end, and you can kind of guess where the ending's going, you're like, but what was that for? So it's excellently shot. Although there's a lot of fast pacing and editing, and you're like, can I just see what's going on, please? And it's very well performed, especially the people that are in the ambulance carry that intensity. Like, it's great. Outside of it, you know, you cops, things exploding. Inside, they're trying to save somebody's life. They're trying to get ahead of things, trying to plan things. That's all fun. But at a really tense level. And you just, the whole time, you know, well, this is not going to end well, is it? Because it just can't. Like, where does this go? The moral of the story is don't rob banks. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not too deep there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this.
Well, did you see the trailer beforehand?
I didn't. No, I avoided it.
Okay. Because, see, I would be interested to have you watch the trailer now that you've seen the movie and tell me how much, because the trailer that I saw, which was the very first trailer that came out, was probably like 2.5 minutes long. And I felt like it showed me everything in order. Like, it literally showed me.
Because I used clips in my review. I saw the comments, and most of the comments are saying what you said. Oh, thanks. I've seen the whole film now.
Yeah, it was really very bizarre because it wasn't even out of order. You know what I mean? Like, you just saw the progression.
Just chronological. You got the whole film.
Yeah. And so honestly, I have not been excited to see this at all for that specific reason. You know, I think
they've probably shown you the best bits in the trailer.
Yeah. You know, because I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I like, it's Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, right?
Yeah.
It's
he's great.
Isaac Gonzalez. I mean, I like these actors.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I like explosions. I like, you know, fast-paced action.
We love.
I mean, Michael Bay is, when you watch Michael Bay films, you know what you're going for.
You know what you're going to get. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I'm okay even going into that like that. But if I already know the entire premise of the story and I've been shown pretty much all of it, my excitement is like pulled way back, because now Are you saving anything that's going to wow me or surprise me? Am I going to be shocked by maybe an element of the story that I didn't see coming, that really hits my heart, or that speaks to something?
Doubtful.
Well, knowing that it's a Michael Bay film, typically not. I mean, most of those, it's surfacey level, and that's okay too, because it is what it is, and you go for a popcorn explosion movie. But okay, well, what was your other?
Okay, so this one was
outing?
A complete surprise, and I'm kind of mad you haven't watched it yet, Chris, because I really wanted to talk about it. This is called Parallels. It's a new Disney original series. It's 6 episodes long. It's a French series. Don't let Disney trick you to thinking it's English, because their default language is English, but it's so obviously dub. And unfortunately, the only English that they have in subtitles ways so you go and click French, and then you go to subtitles. It's the CC, the audio descriptive. So you're going to be it's normal, but you're also going to be reading engine whirring. Girl squeaks, yeah, which I think it was funny at times when it shouldn't have been, because the stuff you're reading
because of some of the things that
you're like, oh no. But for anybody that's been sitting back on the series of Dark, because I understand time travel series can be a bit intimidating, especially when you hear some of the stuff. It's a really complicated story. There's 3 seasons. There's 30 episodes. It's. I think they're 30 episodes, 10 episodes each, or was it shorter than that?
I thought it was a little shorter than that.
Maybe it's shorter than that.
In one of the
3
seasons.
seasons, but also subtitles, and some people don't like reading subtitles, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
All of them. This is like a gateway drug into the dark, because it's totally dark. Like, you watch this and you're like, this is dark. Not dark as in the color, but the story, like what they do with it. It's like Stranger Things meets Dark. It's YA. It's 12. 12 rated here in the UK, so that's probably PG-13, I imagine. In the US, something like that. It's not something as like kiddified as I was expecting it to be, because when it's on Disney, I was like, this could be like straight to DVD sort of thing. Cheesy.
Just it's like
some of the films they've put on there. You're like, the new Home Alone. Please don't be that. Cheapy Butter Dozen, that sort of thing. This was really interesting, and you really like the kids. Some of the reason behind that is because it starts off with, because it's about time travel, kind of. There's a twist there because it's called Parallels. The kids are, so something happens, and then suddenly they're faced with different age groups from, like, one person used to be 14, 15, 16, and now suddenly they're 30. And so they're interacting with each other outside of they're like a fish out of water, and then they're in different times, and it's all kind of experiencing what, if you've watched Dark, you're experiencing basically the same sort of thing. And then it's all about interacting with their families as that, and seeing how their families react when kids are missing from one time zone or one time place, or other kids are not missing, or how they treated, and it just gets really into the family dynamic. So it becomes about character rather than time travel, which was a really good way for it to go, but also leaves it open. And by the time I got to the end, I was like, but what about that one kid? You haven't answered that question, damn it. So it leaves it open, frustratingly. Like, it definitely concludes the story. Like, there's a nice finish, but it also definitely leaves it open. You're like, yeah, I don't know, because there's this moment of something happens where the characters realize something. And then, so there's that one question that's out there in the ether, in the universes. And then the kids know something, and you're like, damn it, but what's that mean? It's really
nice.
Good. Watch it, Chris.
I know. I need to. When you told me that it was like Dark, I was like, ooh, okay. I'm instantly intrigued there. So let me ask you a question on the time travel part of it, because Dark definitely took a unique perspective on certain things, at least in the way that they told the time travel, because you couldn't. It's not like you could run. Wait. No, you kind of could at the last.
Last season you could.
I guess it depends. Yeah. It just depends on when you went. But yeah, I was thinking that you couldn't really run into yourself. You know, so like if you were gone from your time, you were gone from your time.
Yeah, I don't think you can in this one. If you're gone from your time, you're gone from your time. Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I like that more so than
there is
all
this
of a sudden
explanation of what's going on. The mother who's smart, like the quantum physicist, draws on her sliding door, and she talks about like the different timelines, and then she opens and closes and does this kind of show and tell that helps to explain what the hell is going on. And I'm like, thanks, I did need that.
No, and I think that's great, because I think at that point you're not talking down to your audience. You're bringing them in to the conversation so that they can, especially when you're dealing with something that's so complex like that. You know what I mean? Because we've seen every single time travel movie has its own set of rules. And so how are you establishing it in this one? Yeah.
And it does do a couple of things different from Dark, which is nice. They have their own set of rules, and they're doing things a little bit differently. A little bit cliche in parts, but I kind of enjoyed the cliche parts, because I was like, yeah, I want more of that. Give me more. It doesn't need to be as serious or as dark. And Dark got pretty dark. This is the demographic is bringing in, I guess, some of the audience from the adults from Dark, but also the younger generations. And so far, all my comments have been, wow, I wasn't expecting to like this, but this was really great. So it's an unexpected one that not a lot of people are talking about.
Sure. Well, and it doesn't sound kidified.
No.
Either. Like, even though it's even
though it's young, it's not. Yeah. It treats them as people, not just as kids. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's good, because that makes it easier for us, as older adults, not older adults to to get into also.
Yes, us older adults. Yeah.
Yes. As you're not gray. Well, you're beginning to a little bit on the top there. Yeah, a little bit.
A little shine.
Yeah, I'm fully
Well, I know what I have to look forward to, Chris.
Yeah, well, there you go. And I'm not that much older than you either. So
great. What are these next few years going to do to me?
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? I started out completely brown, at the beginning of 2020. And look at
I was like, really? Dang. All right. Thanks,
no,
COVID.
I've been gray since my early 30s.
All right.
So it's oh man. So do you have anything else on your list?
No, that's me caught up.
All right. Well, hey, we thank you so much for joining us. What are some of the best things that you watched this week? Please let us know in the comments. You can always tweet at us, also, best we watched. And don't forget to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/thebeardedones, because, we both have beards. New content constantly being uploaded every week there. So when you happen to join in, there is a lot that you can enjoy. And then you can also have the opportunity to request some stuff too, as just, special from us. But we do. We thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, for paying attention with us, for hopefully continuing the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday. I'm Chris with Movies and Munchies. We'll see you next week.